Chapter 1 Introduction. The SEND and Alternative Provision Green Paper identified three key challenges facing the system. One, the system is failing to deliver improved outcomes for children and young people with SEND. Children and young people with SEND are not consistently being helped to fulfill their potential. 2. Parents' confidence in the system is in decline. Too many parents have lost faith in a system that is not sufficiently responsive to them, which is increasingly adversarial, and in which they face long waiting times to access information and support for their children. Including accessing therapists and mental health support. 3. Despite substantial additional investment, the system has become financially unsustainable. The government has increased investment in high needs by over 50% from 2019 to 2020 to 2023 to 2024. With no marked improvement in outcomes or experiences. The Green Paper highlighted that there is a vicious cycle of late intervention, low confidence, and inefficient resource allocation. That drives these challenges across the system. This cycle starts in early years and mainstream settings. Where early identification of needs and provision of support does not happen consistently, despite the best efforts of the workforce. Children and young people's needs are identified late or incorrectly, with needs escalating and becoming more entrenched. The inconsistency across the system means that parents, carers, and providers do not know what to reasonably expect from their local settings. Resulting in low confidence in the ability of mainstream settings to effectively meet the needs of children and young people with SEND. Due to this low confidence, parents, carers, and providers feel they need to secure EHCPs and, in some cases, specialist provision as a means of guaranteeing support. This results in further challenges across the system. Parents feel that they have to navigate long, difficult processes to access information and support. As more children and young people receive EHCPs to be supported in mainstream and attend specialist settings, More resource and capacity is pulled to the specialist end of the system. There is then less resource available to deliver early intervention and effective, timely support in mainstream settings. As a result, the vicious cycle continues. The unprecedented investment into the high needs system has not been felt, especially by families, because outcomes and experiences do not improve. The Green Paper proposed to improve outcomes and experiences within a fair and financially sustainable system in 5 ways. One, creating a single, national, SEND and alternative provision system, underpinned by national SEND and alternative provision standards for identifying and meeting need from early years to further education. Regardless of place or needs. 2. Improving capacity and expertise in mainstream education from early years to post 16. This is so that all those working with children and young people with SEND have the confidence and expertise to do so, and can identify additional needs and access targeted support when this is needed. 3. Ensuring there is appropriate, high quality specialist provision for those who need it, with a clear vision for alternative provision in delivering early intervention. 4. Identifying clear roles and responsibilities across the system, with strengthened accountabilities and funding reform to deliver national standards effectively. 5. Focusing on effective delivery from the very start, and supporting the system to respond to immediate challenges whilst preparing for longer term reform. Through the Green Paper consultation, we listened carefully to the views of many, including children and young people with SEND or in alternative provision. Through the consultation, we wanted to understand whether our proposals would deliver a system across education, health and care that would deliver improved outcomes for children and young people and better experiences for them and their families. We wanted to understand if the proposals would give families confidence that their children's needs would be met more consistently and effectively, through earlier identification and evidence-based support. We thank everyone who took the time to share their views with us. We have especially listened to the views of children and young people with SEND and in alternative provision and their families. The publication of the Green Paper marked the start of an extensive and accessible 16-week consultation period. We attended 175 events, hearing from over 4,500 people, including children, young people, and families. We received around 6,000 responses to the online consultation questions. These included 21 specific questions and a final question that allowed respondents to share general reflections. We also received submissions from organisations and respondents directly through email. An independent report on the consultation feedback, taking account of responses to the online consultation and feedback received via submissions and emails, has been produced. This improvement plan reflects the feedback that we received through events, through the online consultation, and through submissions from organisations and emails. The sequencing of our proposed reforms is based on consultation feedback. We intend to move most quickly on the proposals where consultation feedback gives us confidence that they have the greatest potential to improve experiences for children, young people, and families with the lowest risk of unintended consequences. Through our £70 million change programme, we will establish up to 9 regional expert partnerships who will help us co-produce, test, and refine key reforms. This will include the establishment of new local, SEND, and alternative provision partnerships, agreed local inclusion plans, strengthened accountabilities, and new inclusion dashboards. We will take the time to consider how to deliver those proposals which parents and those representing children were most concerned about. This is so that children, young people, and their families can be confident that their needs and feedback are at the heart of any changes. We remain committed to delivering a tailored list of placements and proposals for mandatory mediation. As well as developing a national system of funding bands and tariffs. However, we recognise the challenges and risks involved in such a move, and will review and test these policies carefully through the change programme to ensure that they work and do not create unintended consequences for families. We will use the findings from the change programme to inform future legislation to deliver these reforms. This would include new burdens assessments and consideration of the capacity required to manage the delivery of the reforms. Delivering improved outcomes in a financially sustainable system. Our goal is to achieve an inclusive system that enables children and young people to fulfil their potential, has parental trust, and is financially sustainable. This will be a system in which local partners work together effectively with families to deliver for children and young people, with each partner accountable for playing their part. The right balance will be struck so that more resources can be dedicated to providing timely, effective support early and as a matter of course in mainstream settings. This will reduce the need for as many parents to have to navigate lengthy statutory EHCP assessment processes. This improvement plan sets out the next steps in a multi-year programme to deliver this improved system. This includes plans to design and test reforms through our change programme to inform future choices about delivery. And to put the system on a more efficient and financially sustainable footing. We will ensure that the system delivers effectively throughout this period, and we are taking action now to ensure that it does. The Government has made substantial investment to secure the sustainability of the system, with the high needs budget rising by more than 50% over 5 years from 2019 to 2020. It will increase to £10.1 billion in 2023 to 2024. Despite this substantial investment, a significant proportion of local authorities have accumulated dedicated schools grant or DSG deficits due to high needs block overspends. The Government has recently extended a statutory override on local authority DSG deficits. For a one-off period of 3 years, up to March 2026, to give local authorities the flexibility they need to implement sustainable change. We will continue to work with local authority leaders to ensure that we are all doing everything possible to ensure high quality and sustainable systems which are delivering good value for money. It is important that, when the statutory override comes to an end in 2026, local authorities are delivering high quality SEND services for children, young people and their families, as well as being in a position to manage their high needs DSG spending and eliminate accumulated deficits. We will continue to support the sector through spreading best practice and disseminating practical lessons from those authorities that are improving their local service. Including moving to a more sustainable position. We will also continue to work with the sector to assess progress and, if the system is not on track to achieve such financial sustainability, take further action to ensure that local authorities can and do bring their high needs budgets back into balance. We have three approaches to delivery. 1. Support and stabilise. We will support and stabilise the system, getting local areas working in the best possible way within the current system. To ensure that the needs of children and young people are met without escalating costs, and to ensure that local authority deficits are brought under control. This includes supporting local authorities with financial deficits through the Delivering Better Value and the Safety Valve programmes. Further information on these programmes is set out in Chapter 6. 2. Delivering capacity to address supply issues. In the short to medium term, we will take action to address supply issues, ensuring that there is sufficient support available for children and young people when they need it, in the most efficient way. This includes investing £2.6 billion between 2022 and 2025 to deliver new places and improve existing provision for children and young people with SEND or who require alternative provision, reducing the need for costly independent provision. 3. Design and test for systemic reform. Our £70 million change programme will create up to 9 regional expert partnerships that will test and refine longer-term systemic reforms, including developing and testing national standards, strategic partnerships and inclusion plans, the proposed alternative provision service, and tailored lists. This will help guard against unintended consequences and build a strong evidence base to inform future funding and legislation. We will monitor progress towards delivering our mission. To understand whether the system is delivering on our mission, we would expect to see the following shifts. 1. Fulfil children's potential. Better outcomes driven by earlier identification of needs and evidence-based targeted support to meet needs promptly, including mental health support. Higher levels of attendance for those with SEN, both in more inclusive mainstream settings and in alternative provision. improvements in attainment, with more children identified with SEN and in alternative provision reaching the expected standard in reading, writing, and mathematics at the end of primary education. And improved GCSE grades in English language and mathematics. For the very small number of children and young people for whom reaching the expected standard may not be an appropriate aim, we will expect to see an increase in the progress they make. Better preparation for adulthood at every age and stage means that those with SEND and in alternative provision are able to live more fulfilling and independent adult lives with improved employment outcomes. Two, build parents' trust. Families find it easier to navigate the system and access support. They have greater confidence in it, reporting better experiences of a system which is based on dignity and affirmation. Mainstream settings are seen as being high quality and inclusive, valuing those with SEND. Specialist provision is seen to be delivering effectively and is available locally to those needing it, without lengthy processes that are difficult to navigate. 3. Provide financial sustainability. Local systems deploy their resources effectively such that spending shifts towards early intervention and away from costly specialist provision. Where this is not required. Local authorities operate within their budgets and achieve value for money so that record investment in the high needs budget is used effectively and with evidence outcomes that are financially sustainable. As a result, local authorities will be able to deliver high quality services within budgets. The actions we are taking now set a path towards delivering on our mission, and we will monitor progress. As we design and test for systemic reform using the change programme to help us, we will develop proposals further so that the objectives above can be achieved. As we do so, we will continue to work with children, young people and families so that the proposals are responsive to children's needs, build confidence and deliver positive change. In particular, for proposals that require primary legislation, we will set out further detail for consultation. Supported by evidence from the change programme. We want to make sure that with every step we take to implement this improvement plan, we are building confidence that it will work, learning from experience and hearing the voices of children, young people and families.